from missing dockets to delayed justice. But we're told there's light at the end of the tunnel. The judiciary is actually responding to reforms and getting on with some improvements in the system. Today, we put that particular system of justice delivery on the spotlight and ask what this World Bank-funded e-project is all about. That conversation is happening today. So yours is to join us with some thoughts on whether I think you know about this e-project system, whether the justice delivery system is delivering the goals supposed to deliver, and whether or not we are where we are supposed to be when it comes to modernizing our country in the lines of technology, especially when it comes to one of the institutions that is very much unreceptive to reform. After the break, we'll continue our conversation. Welcome back. This is UPfront. My name is Raymond Akwa, and today we get from the Judicial Service, people very distinguished in their office, and people who hardly step out to talk about the systems that are supposed to be functioning there. Very close to me on my immediate left is she's a judge. She's actually a judge of the High Court. I'm sure you know that she's also, if I get it right, part of the Yoko board. Justice Elena Moa is actually my guest here. You're welcome.
Thank you, but I'm not part of the
okay. Oh, well, yes. Well, let me also introduce to you the Deputy Director in charge of the ICT at the Judicial Service. And he's very critical to this particular project too. So we surely will be coming back to some more details on this. But the crux of our conversation today is to let you in on perhaps the boldest changes happening in our justice delivery systems. You do recall that system, I'm sure you know that in the 80s, what happened to judges? All were calls in the direction of having to make reforms. But we went for the National Reconciliation Commission. A huge chunk of the report from the Reconciliation Commission was also calling for massive reforms in the justice delivery system. Fast forward to the times that we've had Chief Justice whose responsibility was basically to make sure that those who play roles specifically in this country can actually do so without having difficulties with the law itself. Now, today, we are seeking to put a spotlight on one of the things which is expected to make massive impact in that particular sector, and that is the e-justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with you, Justice. I wanted to go straight to the point because really, for the man in the ICT sector, it may not be difficult to grasp it. But for the ordinary person, if you're asked to introduce your e-justice system to us, what is it really all about?
Well, the e-justice system is a very seamless system which enables the layman access the halls of justice. Practically, what happens is a lay person who has got a writ to file previously would take his physical writ and come to the court, interface with the court staff, and conduct his affairs with its attendant delays. With the e-justice system, what we have is we have a paperless system. Now, that paperless system is premised on the party having what we call a BP number, which is a business partner number. So a layman who wants, if A wants to sue B, A goes to court in the ordinary way for the very first time with his writ physical paper in his hand. He begins to interface with the system when the physical paper is collected and scanned and enters into our automated and digitized system. Now, for him to be able to do that at the point of inception, we ask for his details. That is, we verify his name, his address, his IDs, national identification, so that he can be identified. We take his phone number so that he can receive alerts periodically during the course of the journey of his matter.
Okay, so I get this from this perspective. So I have to file a case. If I want to sue, let's say, now I won't sue you. If I want to sue him, and what I can do, unlike the times where my lawyers will have to go through some long writs, they write all of those, then come to the registry, try to use the system to get my case on record, then I have to check consistently, know when my case will be called and all of that. This is going to change, right?
Yes, this is going to change in a way that is, if I would like to say, mind-blowing. In a way that is mind-blowing and in a manner that is going to bring the judicial service at par with international best practice. Now, using your example of the layman has interfaced the system for the very first time. Let us assume that the layman is not computer savvy. He comes with his physical process. It is entered into the registry and scanned after his details has been taken. Immediately his detail has been taken, he has a BP number. That is a business partner number. That number acts as a key which enables him to receive prompts when his case is adjourned, to receive notifications if any processes have been filed in relation to his case, which also saves him time and prevents that interface between himself and the court staff. That increases the level of integrity of the judicial process and also increases the level of transparency of the judicial process. So this is a seamless system, and looking at the internet penetration in Ghana and vis-a-vis the population in that regard, it is a web-based program system that definitely relies on the simple mobile phone.
I see.
Yes.
I mean,
so whether you are using a YAM or whether, yes, whether you are, if you are using a YAM, you will still get alerts for your adjournment. You will still get alerts when processes have been served. You will still get alerts related to your case.
So there can be an excuse that I never heard of it.
I
came to check at the court. I couldn't even find the notice on the wall.
No, there is nothing like that, because you will be notified. You will be notified either through your phone or by email.
Okay, forgive me. Give me a second. Now let me ask you, because this will require a certain kind of network to work with.
That's right.
I talked about the layperson because not everybody has been interfacing with the legal system for a very long time. I am coming in for the first time. I have a case to file. My lawyers have some documents for me. Can I do it from home? Or I first and foremost have to come to the court premises, go through the registry and get this done before the subsequent processes can be done from wherever I happen to be?
Okay, Raymond, very good question. All right, so for one to have access to the e-justice system, there is an absolute requirement for a BP registration for the first-time user. Like my lady explained, BP simply means business partner number. And to obtain the business partner number, what one needs is a valid national ID. It could be your passport, your voter's ID, your SNIT card, your national health card, alongside your full name, email address, and your mobile number. Now, for lawyers who are our key stakeholders, they would also have to add their chamber and their solicitor's license number. For the first time, you would have to come to the courthouse. But if you are an ordinary court user who has a lawyer, your lawyer can make a BP request for you. That is if your lawyer had already registered on the e-justice platform.
I see.
Yes, and even if your lawyer has registered on the e-justice platform, that does not bar you as a court user from having a BP number, because as we know in this jurisdiction, you can always change counsel at any time. So it gives you, as the layperson, that flexibility, accessibility to the information, and it makes the system itself accessible to you, and it removes that divide between the justice system and the layperson.
And if I understand this, it also means that if I, in times past, had to travel from Cape Coast to Accra, because I have a case in Accra, and only be told that the case is not coming off, and I should have known because there's a notice out there already suggesting that. That notice can be given me back there in Cape Coast.
Yes, yes.
In fact, the notification of this state of affairs would be made available to you on your phone.
I see.
So indeed and in fact, there is no need for traveling, as the case may be. No, you will only travel when you are notified that your case will be coming on, and you will not just be notified, you'll be notified and given the court, because part of a feature of the e-justice system is the electronic case distribution system, which is done by the system. So you will be notified when your writ hits the system, it will be assigned to a judge. All judges have their key identification numbers in the system, and it will be assigned by the system to you. So you would be in the know as to the court, the date, the time, the progress of the case. This removes the previous state of affairs where people have had to travel to the court and make payments here and there. For these, the beauty of the system and one cardinal feature is its accessibility. You can make payments by mobile money, by bank transfer. You can make payments by debit card, by credit card.
I see.
So it is very, very flexible. And other modes of payments will be brought on board as and when it becomes the rage to do so.
Let me not ask the judge. Mr. Ntifafa, let me ask you this question. We are told that those of you in the judiciary, you are very much opposed to changes, especially when they are technology driven. But because judges and the lawyers still wear wigs, I mean, how long that history is supposed to be. They wear gowns, sometimes in courtrooms that are very hot. And even the ordinary person is feeling hot. How much for the people on that particular side? How are they accepting this kind of technology-driven process?
All right, Raymond, the world is changing. And this e-justice project actually comes under the overall umbrella of the e-transform program. Don't forget that the government of Ghana is formalizing the economy through a program called e-transform. So under the e-transform, we have the e-parliament, we have the e-immigration, we have the e-port. So our component of the e-transform is the e-justice. So if the government of Ghana is driving that process,
I see.
They
don't have a choice.
Yes, they don't have a choice. And,
but I agree that they are very conservative.
The adoption rate now in the judiciary has been very positive.
Yeah,
Raymond.
I see how you're going to take it. I get you. No,
yes.
I get you. I understand you.
Yes, but being a judge, being a judge, let me say that the judicial service that we have now is a judicial service that is proactive. It's a judicial service that is in touch and in tune with the times. We are no longer of the stock that are resistant to change, and that is quite clear in the fact that we even have video link, which we use regularly for some of our court processes. Recently, decisions have been given where parties have been allowed to serve by social media. So the judicial service is not as archaic as it is being painted.
That sounds interesting.
And in any event, for every society, there must be a good mix of both the old rules and the new. But a society is dynamic, and as society changes, institutions as key as the judicial service must also change. And this change is a fundamental change because in the 62-year history of the Republic of Ghana, this is the first time that a judicial service is going to run a fully automated justice system. That is an electronic workflow from the beginning of the client-user interface up to the end of the execution process. So it is actually something.
So there's possibly going to be a time that you might be on the plane and get an email that your case has been ruled upon, and this is the ruling. It's possible.
Well, technically and practically speaking, when you sit on a plane, you are on flight mode. So unless your craft has Wi-Fi, and if it has Wi-Fi, yes, you would be able to receive it.
That's
because it is web-based. So anywhere you go and you are able to log online, you are able to get onto the system. That's the whole structure of it, and we are all very, very excited. Yes, we are all very, very excited. There's been a lot of training for judges, a lot of training for lawyers, a lot of training for our other partners, and we are really excited. Not the general public,
I want to believe. Not the general public first.
Well, with the general public, these are the information that we are putting out, and there are other strategies that are also being rolled out to enable the general public get the feel of the exciting nature of this actual change. I mean, I always compare it to WhatsApp and writing letters. In times of old, when one engages in courtship, one writes letters. and sent it to the post office, and so on and so forth. In these times, one uses social media. So social media is being used much more. That means the internet, which is the base of social media, is being used much more, and that defies issues of demographics, and it also defies issues of financial ability and capability. So it's a seamless system, and we're hoping that the uptake will be very, very fast. Yes, and it would place Ghana, it will place the Republic of Ghana where it should be, with its fellow nations, following international good practice in judicial delivery to lead to effective justice and transparent proceedings.
That's the point you're moving to, which I'm interested in. At least there should be some reasons beyond just taking up technology that will drive this particular quest. What are these reasons? Mr. Fafa first.
No, this e-justice platform comes with a number of advantages. If you look at the old manual system that we had, it was fraught with a number of challenges like duplication of suit numbers. A suit number is a unique number assigned to cases, but in the manual system we used to have.
And one of the biggest problems that I've heard people say, I remember those days in court, the docket is missing.
Yeah.
And that the entire court will be going up and down. Old men will travel
in
from
this
afar
new system,
to come
Raymond,
just beat that situation. The docket is missing.
Raymond, in this new system, the e-justice system addresses that challenge.
A docket cannot be missing.
A docket cannot be missing.
But even technology can be tampered with.
No, but we have backup system, we have replicated system, we have redundant measures in place, Raymond. We have thought through the issue from beginning to end. So we are well ready and well positioned for this particular project.
Yes.
Well, to add to that, you see, the system itself is based on a system of authentication, digital signature, and there are various security levels that have been put in place. So, for example, your security level is prescribed by your job description and your role. And so any attempt to move from one to the other is able to be detected by the system. Now, that is a key security feature. Documents that go through the system are themselves digitized in nature. So there isn't room for issues like that. However, to go back to your question of, in actual fact, why the need for the e-justice system in the first place.
Beyond just modernizing, beyond just going up with the times.
Beyond just modernizing, we would want to have a system where justice delivery is efficient and effective. We would want to have a system where the Judicial Service, which is actually delivering a service, delivers a service such that the end user is able to appreciate and accept a holistic service. Now, the heart of any justice system is transparency, and the heart of transparency itself is also integrity. So once the interface between the court user and the administrative staff are removed, instantaneously we have a state of affairs of heightened integrity, especially where monies are related. So these are some of the reasons. Not only that, but then also, I mean, basically the fact that it will entrench our position in terms of the rule of law. Very, very important.
I would query that. How does it do it? For example, how does it entrench Ghana's position in terms of rule of law?
Well, it entrenches Ghana's position in terms of rule of law because the courts now become accessible. Parties are able to access various judgments. You just make your request. You will receive it through the portal. You make your payment through the portal. The mystique surrounding the Judicial Service or the Judiciary as a whole would therefore be removed, and the parties would now see that if they have any grievances, they can put it to the courts, and they can see how courts have dealt with other matters in the past.
I see. You also mentioned strengthening the judicial systems. How would just going technology-driven engagement strengthen this system that we currently have?
You see, the judicial system is processes. I mean, for a case to be set before court, one would have to come to the registry. One would have to go through certain processes before the case is put before a judge in the court. And we all know the challenges that we've had with our manual system. Now, one key advantage of this system that is going to strengthen the judicial system is that there is time to value improvement on the old system. In the sense that, look, if I have to physically come to the court only to be told that my case has been adjourned, in this new system, you will have notification if the judge is not available. I mean, so your travel time is cut off. You save money, and the processes are more efficient. And the system has been built with audit trail. So every record in the system is tracked. For example, a filing clerk cannot delay the process because it will be seen in the system.
Yes.
And you know that it got to a stable.
It got to a stable and delayed.
Or it was at this level that this problem actually occurred.
Exactly. So the tracking system would enable faster adjudication of justice.
That brings to mind accountability and corruption too.
Yes. Well, for the judges, basically, the system itself, flowing from what Mr. Noble said, the system itself has a portion of the system where the judges can do their own self-management. They manage their diaries. That prevents a situation where a court user comes to court only to realize that the judge is not in. Because the judge registers his or her absence in the system, and the system will automatically assign the case to the relieving judge. So the waste of time for the court user is removed purely from that system. So
there can be a change in hearing dates, which is just communicated to the people when they get to the court because the judge is not in the right state of being, or is unwell, is under the weather. Or
no, that will become a thing of the past, because if you are a judge and you are absent, that absence is supposed to be mandatorily logged into your calendar. The essence of logging the absence into the calendar is to enable the system to mark you as absent for those period of days and automatically assign the docket to the relieving judge. So it is a seamless justice flow system. It's a very seamless system from when you interface to the end.
I want to ask this question, and this question, maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Antifafa. The question is about, let's break this down. People file cases, right? How different is filing, using the old system compared to this new e-system? You tried to give me a bit of that, but I want you to take me through the process. When we started, we'll try to talk about that. So step by step.
All right. So Raymond,
for those who don't understand the filing of cases, let's start with the old system.
But don't forget, I'm an IT person. I would attempt. Yes. So the e-justice system, as it is now, actually creates the environment for electronic filing. You know, in the manual system, we have filing, we have process serving, we have payments, we have case assignment to courts. Now, what the e-justice does is that it creates a room for electronic filing. So in the manual system, if it used to be manual filing, now it is e-filing. So we have e-filing, e-process serving, online payments, like my lady said, that we have a number of payment instruments, including mobile money payments. We have automatic assignment of court cases to the court. The system does it by itself, and the system manages the judge's calendar and send notification to the parties involved. And anytime a process is filed, you don't have to come to court to know that the process has been filed. The system would automatically alert you that the other party have filed a process on the case.
I see. That's interesting. Is there anything you wanted to add to that process?
Well, no. Basically, I think he's covered everything. The experience for the layman, if let me put it this way, and I always like to use a simplified example, is a layman holding a writ. For the very first time, when he wants to interface the e-justice system, he will be asked his name, he will be asked his ID to produce any national ID, he will be asked his address, and he will be entered into the system. When he's entered into the system, he will be given a BP number. once he's given the business partner ID number, he has entered the system. Now, what happens to the paper rate he's holding in his hand? Assuming that the paper rate has gone through the process of being paid and that payment has hit the e-justice system, that paper rate now enters and becomes digitized. It is now scanned through the system. What that means is that from this point going forward, that layman with his mobile phone is told that your document has been successfully scanned, your case has been scheduled for this. When a party enters his defense has been filed on this particular date. When he wants to make inquiries, he can make those inquiries without coming to the court because he has a BP number.
I see.
He types in, enters the portal, enters his BP number. Now the BP number, one point which has been missed, is that the BP number, as I said, acts as a key. What that key does is with that unique BP number, you would know what I would like to describe as your legal health. That is, all matters related to you within the not so only that particular case, all matters related to you within the system. The reason is simple, because the
so you get
old
to know if you
cases,
have been sued.
yes, not only when you have been sued, the old cases have all been scanned into the system.
I see.
Now, with that, we have that lot digitized. You now walk in with a fresh case. You have a BP number. Your BP number will be linked with wherever you are on the system, whether as plaintiff or defendant.
I see.
So that's the
How about
structure.
if you were just dragged in as witness, I mean, to come and be part of the process, be a witness for somebody in the case, would you equally be identified by the system?
If you are dragged in as a witness, then you are identified by the system, yes.
Okay, so it makes me think that we all need this BP number, this business partner number. Because, I mean, I don't know, but I may go to court someday. I may, in some case or somewhere, be dragged to come and help with the case or one way or the other. Do I necessarily need the BP number?
If you are triggered to access the justice system, yes. In any shape or form, yes, it would be strongly advisable to have a BP number because it gives you the flexibility of knowing the status of your case in the comfort of your own home through the use of the mobile phone or any internet-enabled device.
Is the BP number a permanent number for an individual, never to be transferred ever?
It is a permanent number, never to be transferred, yes.
But sometimes it's not individuals that are sued. It can be a corporate institution sued.
Yes, there are modalities for that on the system.
So we have individual registration, BP numbers. We also have for organizations and institutions.
Yes. I'll be taking a break after this, but let me read a couple of messages on our Facebook one. This one said, even the developed countries like the USA, the fiscal registration and information systems are still being used in addition to the e-systems. And be careful, very careful about this. There can be serious glitches due to technicalities, and it continues to say some mischievous sources. Don't jump with both feet up yet. Tread cautiously. And what John Chris, someone is the one saying so. There's one from Erickson. Erickson says there's no transparent institution in Ghana. And so no Ghanaian would necessarily have any trust in any of these institutions. The Uyamasi teacher constitution sends a message, and Kweku Abodapi. Okay, now Kofi Nyako says Ghana's judiciary should quickly identify the ill nature of some corrupt people for duping and tarnishing the image of reputable judges, and that's also here. But I'm sure some of these things will get some responses, especially the ones that are raising concerns about. In this era, when you are thinking about technology, you are also thinking about possibility of being hacked. After the break, we'll consider whether or not e-justice projects can be hacked, and your case may vanish from the system or rendered in some form not usable in any form. After this break. You welcome back. This is UPfront. My name is Raymond Akwa. We are looking at reforms in the Ghana's judiciary, one sector that many have complained about being very, very not so adapted to reforms in times past, being rigid and also sometimes very conservative when it comes to the changes that the world is going through. There is, however, good news that they are reporting. They're saying that they are going full-term electronic from the beginning to the end. From the day you walk in to go file a suit to the time your judgment comes out. That experience, the judiciary is insisting is going to change. We are putting it under the lens to see whether this system will stand the test of time, or is one of those fleeting ideas that rarely is just a flash in the pan. That's the conversation we are having. And my guest today is the very distinguished judge at the High Court. She's Ellen Amoah. You know, mostly the H and the E is difficult for some of us.
That's right.
Yes, and also the Deputy Director in charge of ICT at the Judicial Service is Noble Nutifafa, and these are my guests on today's Upfront, looking at how best to improve and how best your judiciary is improved to serve you better. Now, we can continue our conversation because we left off with taking some of your thoughts specifically directed at finding out whether or not, one, this system can be hacked and rendered useless, or changes made to it. So whilst now we complain about docket getting missing in the court, the complaint now is that it's possible that somebody will hack your system and my docket will equally get missing. So what's the point?
Raymond, I think it's a good question, but security is an absolute one of the basic requirements that we have actually considered in this system. We actually have layers of security inbuilt in the fabric, in the architecture of this whole e-justice system. For instance, when one logs onto our online portal, which is ejustice.gov.gh, you would see that it comes up with HTTPS, which means that you are connecting to a secured site. So what it means to the user is that the communication between the ordinary person and the court system has been encrypted. So if, for example, there is a man-in-the-middle attack or a cyber attack and that data is intercepted, it becomes unreadable. So we have actually taken the steps to secure the communication process between the ordinary user and our system. And we have also put in intervention measures to protect the data that we receive through encryption process. We have replication processes to keep the data safe. And we have a detailed audit trail. Every activity that, is done in the system, it actually records an audit trail. If there are violations, we take prompt action to actually avert such instances. And let me also say that...
So in a sum, can your system be hacked?
It will be difficult. No system is hack-proof.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, no system is hack-proof. But what we can do as a fallback measure is to have fail-safe systems. So have redundant systems. If one is hacked, we power on the other one. It comes on automatically. Users are working seamlessly without knowing that something had happened at the back end.
Okay, that's interesting. So if it is hacked, I heard you saying that the data will be in unreadable forms.
Yes. Because the data at rest is encrypted.
Okay.
It's encrypted. Encryption, unless you have the encryption key, you cannot actually decrypt it.
There's a question that has to do with what the details of the Data Protection Act says. How safe is my data when I put it in your system? As in, are you currently, will it be complying with the directives of the Data Protection Act?
Yes, Raymond, we are in full compliance because the details of the data we are collecting will not be disclosed unless by a court order.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's interesting to know that too, but we should continue the conversation. The crux of what we would be seeking to find out next is having such a system in place, and currently there's a manual system going, especially when it comes to filing cases. What happens to this manual system and the file cases that have been done manually?
I think that's what I indicated earlier on, that I mentioned the backlog of cases. All those backlog of cases have been scanned into the e-justice
currently
system.
Or they've been already
currently they have been scanned into the e-justice system. So those paper dockets are now digitized.
All?
Yes, they are now we may have a few.
Okay.
We may have a few that
like
are yet to hit
95%.
the system, but I would say roughly about 95% have gone into the system now, yes. And this is a system, it's being rolled out at the Law Court Complex, which is about 43 high courts at the moment now. And it's gone live for some time, and we've been working with that. So that's how the paper dockets are being dealt with.
That's interesting to note. Let's zoom in on the portal itself.
Okay.
What criteria must me or any other person meet before you can access the e-justice portal?
Okay, Raymond, I think we've mentioned that point already. I'm going to reiterate again. Like we said earlier, it is an absolute requirement for one to have a BP ID, which is a business partner number ID. For short, it's a BP ID. So that single requirement actually allows you to have access to the e-justice portal. It's like you want to transact a business with a bank.
Okay.
Yes, you need an account number. Yes, and with the account number, you have access to all your account details. So the BP ID acts like that.
And any internet source can actually access this?
Yes. So because it's a web-enabled application, you know, the system had been designed such that you could have anywhere access and everywhere access or anytime access. So it is web-enabled. Once you have the basic tools like computer, internet, your phone, you could have access.
People pay money
BP
to
ID.
file cases as we speak. Will the amount I pay to file cases go up or go down, or probably maintain at the current state with this new system? So I'm looking at how efficient would it be for me and cost effective would it be for me if I'm logging onto the system?
Okay, Raymond, there are statutory fees.
Yes,
that are provided by
we know those
the-
ones.
yes.
I'm just wondering whether it's going to go up.
No, the fee-
Rather, this system is going to save you a lot of cost, because if you have the basic tools in your house or in your chamber, you don't have to drive all the way to the court to file.
Okay.
And the fees regimen governing the courts, it's CI 86.
Okay.
And that has
It's
not
not been
been
amended.
changed. Yes,
Okay.
it's not been changed. So those are the legally mandated fees for the processes for the service delivery that the justice system delivers.
So categorically, I'm not paying any peso extra for being on this project.
No, you are
Not
not
at
paying
all.
any peso extra.
Okay.
Yeah, and if anything at all, you are saving yourself money, you are saving yourself time.
But that's interesting to know. Now, there's the question about if you don't have the tools to access the e-justice system, what should the person do?
All right, so Raymond, the basic tools that are required for one to access the e-justice portal, you need a computer, you need an internet connection, you need a scanner. Now, we have had a number of engagement with the Bar Association, so they are in the know of these tools. But for the ordinary court user who does not have these tools, we have created what we call service bureau firms.
Okay.
We have licensed them. We have one at the law court complex. We have one at the law court complex, so one could walk to the courthouse and the service bureau will help you actually do your electronic filing.
Okay.
Or through your lawyer, now have the basic tools.
Okay, so there are some people on standby who would actually help you go through this process.
Exactly. And we have plans of rolling out more service bureaus.
Can I decide not to be part of the system? Can I choose manual? Can I just say that I don't trust this system and I want manual? Is it possible?
Well, it's the way to go now, unless you want to take yourself out of job.
Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting. So it's compulsory. You surely have to get on board.
It's compulsory.
Okay, I'm not talking about the judges. I'm talking about an individual coming to file a case. I'm saying that I'm skeptical about the judicial system and the people who work there. I want this done manually so that I can take a couple of my documents back home with me.
Raymond, I use the word, it is an absolute requirement.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it is not discretionary.
It
One
is
would
a-
have to
it-
go through the
yes.
process.
It is a requirement, and there's nothing to be afraid of.
And this will not
because
limit
there are,
access.
It will not limit access, and there are people
Or not put
who
impediments in the way of access.
Not at all. There are people who have been designated. We have the change users and the super users who have been designated to help persons with any challenges, whether they be disability challenges
talking
or
about
any
that,
challenges at all. And these persons wear this blue jacket.
Oh, I see.
And these are for the change users and the super users. So if you enter the court premises, you have any difficulty or any challenge, personnel wearing this have been fully trained to aid you and guide you through the process with the aim of enabling that you have a seamless experience with our justice delivery system.
I see this working at the new court complex in Accra.
Yes.
I even see this working at the Supreme Court and all of the other fanciful buildings in that enclave. I doubt how this is going to work at the Kaneshie Court. Fast forward beyond that to some court in the village which is struggling with facilities, which is struggling with power supply. How is the system likely to work in places like that?
Raymond, technology implementation goes through a process.
Okay.
So we have identified some of these challenges. So we have a roadmap to actually roll this new system to the other high courts in the regional capitals, to the Supreme Court, to the Court of Appeal, and to the whole nation by 2022.
I think it looks like you're talking about only the superior courts. I didn't hear you say the circuit courts, the magistrates.
Fortunately, the circuit court and the high court uses the same CI 47.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
So it will be done automatically at this time?
Yes.
No, but the question I was asking, and that difficulty is real in life, even here. There are places in this country where the courts are terrible, in very bad condition.
Yes. By 2022, the aim is to have the whole of the coverage of the Judicial Service covered by the e-justice system. The present challenges you are meeting now, the e-justice system deals with it on a group-by-group basis. Now, as at now, technically speaking, anywhere where you are able to hold a mobile phone and receive a signal, you can access the e-justice system, irrespective of the state of the court in your area. So that is the beauty of it. That is, the e-justice system is worked on the platform of the web. So anywhere you have an ISP, an internet service provider, anywhere there is an internet service provider providing a service, you have access to the system.
I think that's what when I was leaving school that they started this go register yourself kind of registration system with the internet base and all of that.
Yeah.
One of the main difficulties that thing presented to us was every other time they had to do extension of registration because a network had a problem one way or the other. This system is more likely to be flooded by a huge number of people. Are there safeguards that will not be told when you are trying to access it, you cannot access it? You know that you are supposed to be in court the next day, and yet you are unable to access a system that should help you and make your life better.
Raymond, these are things we have thought through again. That so we, in terms of capacity, we have actually put in place. We have 3 internet service providers that is linked to the e-justice platform. So when one service provider is down, the other takes over automatically, and the other, it flows in that succession. And we have, after we monitor the system, the connection process, and check the utilization rate. So at every point in time, the system cannot be flooded because we have a monitoring room checking utilization, checking those who are connecting to it. And increasingly, we increase the capacity so that users can have a free flow access to the system.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes. But you're not ruling out the possibility that the system will go down.
Well, you see, it's a technology.
Yes.
The best you can do is to put in redundant measures. That when one fails, the other takes over. And that is what we have done.
Power supply.
Yes. So, again, on power supply, we have alternative power supplies in place. We are mindful of what is going on.
Yeah.
So we, for instance, have an industrial uninterrupted power supply systems in place. It is so huge that the rundown time is about 8 hours. Now, if there's a power outage that goes beyond 8 hours, we have a standby generator that kicks in automatically to make sure that the systems are available and can be predicted.
Well, it sounds like a very good idea. Of course, until we see the fullest implementation of all of it, with these attendant challenges, we cannot conclude that it is what is always built to be. This is God, I'm sure you know the
Raymond, we have started.
Yeah.
Yes, we have started.
On a small scale, I want to believe. I've not heard the lawyer say that, oh, well, I used that particular internet system and it went so well for me. Of course, I've heard the judges on their own trying to say, go serve the person via Facebook or WhatsApp. But it doesn't sound to me like when you roll this large scale, you'll be as successful as doing it on a small scale.
Raymond, again, we have just started with a proof of concept pilots with only 43.
When was this started?
We've gone live internally. The accessibility to the system, we have internal users and we have external users. So internal users, we went live somewhere in November. Just to test proof, test the system.
Just last year's November?
Last year, November.
So when is this project going to be rolled out in a way that the lawyers can just come use it, and I also can go and file one myself.
No, now we have gone live to the public.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it can be accessed anytime.
Yes, it can be accessed. It is
When I walk
accessible.
into the court today,
You can access it anywhere, anytime, even in your bedroom.
do you use one? Do you
Yes.
do you access it?
Yes, I do.
How is it like?
But it's
I mean, honestly, like from a user point of view, not but like somebody who believes in promoting it. From a user point of view, how is it like?
It's a user-friendly system. I mean, the system is very user-friendly.
Should you necessarily be
you don't-
highly computer literate before you can access
You
it?
don't need to be highly computer literate to access it, just as you don't need to be highly computer literate to use a telephone. Yes. So it's exactly the same analogy. It's a very user-friendly system, and provided you have your BP number, you can have access to all the information related to your case, all the alerts related to your case, make your payments seamlessly through the e-platform, either by mobile money, debit card, credit card, and come to court only when it is necessary, when you are prompted to do so by prompt received either by email or by SMS.
I cannot be held in contempt because I didn't get a message. Can I? Can I?
No, this is not about contempt.
No,
I mean,
saying
at the end of the day,
come to court.
yes. But what your question raises a very good point, and that point is what we call our Order 7 Rule 8 of CI 47, and we have the Rules of Court Committee currently working to ensure that instantaneous service is a part of our CI 47 regimen. So that puts an end to the issue of service or non-service and what you have raised. But that is technical.
I didn't even understand what you said completely. All that I said was whether I could be held in contempt for waiting on the phone and my phone not blinking.
And I am drawing attention to the fact that the issues of service are being dealt with by the Rules of Court Committee. The law as it currently stands is in our Order 7 Rule 8 of CI 47, which does not take account of instantaneous SMS, instantaneous e-service. So the Rules of Court Committee is now looking at that and is yet to come out with the necessary rules in relation to the e-service, which I'm sure they are doing as at now.
There's a question from Emmanuel Hodgson Kofi who says that it's a wonderful system you want to deploy, but he's also asking that you have a manual system as an alternative to this. Backup, he's saying. Considering that?
Yeah, Raymond, when we started, before we went live internally, we were running the two systems together. At a point, we had to cut off the manual system and fully move on to the digitized platform. So we have gone through that phase, and we feel we are confident enough to handle, this new system, absolutely, without running the parallel system. What happens with running a parallel system is that there's a danger of the users falling back to the old system because it's a system they are used to. Don't forget that we are creating a culture, a digital culture, and we have to, through training and sensitization and all that, we are getting them to absorb and adopt what we have brought on board. So when you run the two systems, on parallel, the likelihood is that they're going to go back to the manual system.
There's a question about whether or not you should be able to file your case by just writing it and sending it into an email. The judge gets it, the person you want to sue also gets it, and everything is done from the office of a lawyer or a recognized institution in this particular case. In fact, to this individual, that is completing the actual authorization of the process. Do you think so?
If it is something...
Is it possible?
It is possible. It is possible,
But it's not done in the current system?
Yes, we have just started. And we have the current state and we have the future state of the system. So we are going to be bringing on board process improvement. And we'll look at what you have just said. If it is feasible, we'll look at the feasibility of it. We can adopt it and bring it on board.
Justice, there will be a better place like that.
Yes, but as things stand now, if your lawyer has got a BP number, the writ can be issued from his office.
I see.
Yes, so you need not work physically. The writ can be issued from his office. And the point that's being made is that your lawyer is mandated to have a BP number because he accesses the judicial system. But you, as the user of the system, it is highly advisable for you also to have your BP number so that the alerts which come to the lawyer in respect of the case, you will get the same alerts also on your mobile phone. So can you use the system to initiate the legal process? Yes, you can. All you need to do is to have your BP number. But with a lay person, initially, you will not have the BP number because you will only have your physical writ. So it is when you come to the registry and your details are inputted into the e-system that you will be given a BP number. From that moment onwards, we have done away with physical papers for you, and we've done away with physical notifications. You will receive e-alerts.
And my time is up. I wanted to ask you about the 2014 comment you made about the lawyers and other people seeking to bribe judges that you said you would expose. I didn't know whether this one could help promote that. But folks, that's where we end today's edition of Upfront. My name is Raymond Akwa.